Hello, welcome to Ceramics with Miss Tomimitsu. Today we're going to learn how to make a hanging heart. And I have two hearts in front of me. I pinched these out yesterday and they're both about leather hard. Now, when you're done with the heart, it's really important that you put your name with the needle tool and it's legible so that, and kind of like block letters, so that you get your project back. And I would just put Kimmy T, and you put your period, and you can put it, see, you can put it on the other side, and try to maybe consider smoothing the clay really well when you do that. And this would be period 2, okay? And that's really important on every single project you ever make in this class. So after I pinched, I also added this little coil, and I do need to do some smoothing here so it's nice and smooth and doesn't scratch my wall. But these are two rough hearts that I started pinching, okay? So I'm gonna let my students pass those around one more time. And I'm gonna go ahead and start demoing. And this is a quick project. It's a mini project that we do at the beginning of the year. We always do one little mini project. It takes about, a period. It shouldn't take you any more than a period to pinch out your heart. And then, so for us about 30 minutes and maybe less, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, okay? And then the next day, once it's leather hard, you can go in and add design. So I'm first to start by making a ball. Now, I'm gonna use my best tool. The only tool that you need today is your hands, and first tool is your thumb, okay? So I'm gonna push into the pot and have a nice even hole, okay, that goes all the way around, or inside. And then I'm gonna take my finger and kind of glide all the way around on the inside, just the bottom portion. Now, when we practice with Play-Doh, you really couldn't do this because Play-Doh just kind of bounces back. You don't really have to pinch much. You're just kind of gliding your finger around till you feel that it's about the same thickness through. And then I might pinch a little bit as well. If you see like finger marks on the outside, that means you're going too fast and too hard. So don't speed it up, don't rush it. Just pinch out the bottom. And now this is where I'm gonna change from what I usually do. So ceramics too, make sure you're listening too. I'm not pinching a circle, okay? I'm pinching more like a triangle, kind of like an avocado shape. I'm only gonna pinch out the bottom, and then I'm gonna pull the clay like this and kind of glide the clay open. So I have like a ramp. And you might get stretch marks that could turn into cracks later, so you wanna smooth those immediately. If you get any stretch marks, and stretch marks, again, aren't cracks, because it's just the exterior of the clay stretching quicker than the interior of the clay. So you just smooth them out, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and pinch out kind of like an avocado shape on the inside. Kind of looks like where the ball will go with an avocado. Does that make sense? Or the seed, okay? And I don't wanna go too deep because I'm making a hanging heart. So if it starts to get too deep, smack it with your hand. Don't smack it on the table because you want to keep a circular kind of bulbous shape on it, okay? And I'm going to just pinch now and make this, kind of keep that avocado kind of shape, but get all of the clay the same thickness, which will be between 1/4 and 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so if I look at this, use the ruler, and there's marked at 1/4 and 3/8. The outside is about that, right? But we want to make sure the inside is that same shape as well. Does this make sense? Thank you to my lovely period 2 ceramics 1 and 2 students for listening. And kind of flattening it because I don't want it to get too deep. Now, this is a little hack. So you keep this all the same flushness, like level. Put it on the table, and you got to make this noise. You got to go boom, 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 boom. Everyone do it? Boom, 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 boom. Make the noise. Okay, you're so quiet. Are you guys sleeping this morning? So you see it got really thick here, right? So then you go in and you pinch the thick parts and leave the thinner parts. Okay, so it's all flush though. And is it kind of shaped like an avocado or like a pear kind of shape? So remember that. In the other demonstration videos, I did a circle. It's really going to be difficult to make a heart from a circle. It's easier, we kind of learned. Now I take my thumb and start pushing right here on the top. Do you see? And kind of hug it. And this is when you get one of the black discs that I provided for you, and put it down on the desk and make a little heart with your hand. Can everyone do that right now? Right in front of them, make a little heart with your hand. Can you do that? This is kinesthetic learning that helps us remember, okay? And just kind of hug it. And you're gonna wanna take your index finger, or any finger, but I think the index finger works the best, and kind of smear down the middle. And then pull out on the sides. I had a lot of students yesterday who had like narrow sides. You can always pull these wings out on the side more, and you can take your hand and kind of hug the clay. And you can give it a little attitude on the corner. It doesn't have to be just a point down. You could curve it, make it a little asymmetrical. Okay, and if you wanted one of your sides to be wider than the others, and again, pull out those wings, but you can make one side wider than the others. But really focus looking at it. Once you have it pinched out between 1/4 and 3/8, focus looking at it from this angle, not this angle. This isn't gonna look so great. Do you all understand? And it's still about 3/8, but if I wanna get my heart wider, I can turn it back around this way and then see how that looks. And it looks just a little bit more luscious. I have still a little bit more work to do, but I just kind of smear in there and then smear that back out. You'll find, I know that you guys practiced with Play-Doh, you'll find that the clay is much easier. It doesn't bounce back like Play-Doh does. And remember, you are strong. You take that clay and you sculpt it in the shape that you want it. Tell the clay what to do, okay? And one other tool that you want to use, maybe on the second day, maybe today, if you get stretch marks, I almost forgot, you're gonna want a brush and water, okay? So, and one sponge. And the yogurt containers are over there. And I prefer the white tipped brushes. They're firmer in texture, so they can kind of push the clay around and tell it what to do, just for smoothing. I prefer a brush or a sponge that's wet, but not dripping, okay? You don't want to make it too wet because then it will make the piece too plastic and you'll just get a mess. And you can smooth with the sponge though, if you get any stretch marks, or the back of your fingernails are a really good tool too, or just your finger. You can also take a brush that's wet, but kind of take the moisture out of it a little bit, and brush the clay as well to work on smoothing. And you're kind of really pushing hard. You see the brush moves like that. You want to use the white tipped ones. The black tipped ones are too floppy and they don't do such a good job. So, do you guys have any questions for me now? Ask now. Remember, when you ask one question, maybe from one person, maybe 10 other people had the same question. So I want to make sure there's nothing I avoided mentioning. Ceramics 2, do you have any questions? All right. So thank you very much. This is let me show the last part. So while it's plastic, you'll put this to the side. You'll grab a little pinch of clay, okay, just a little bit, and take it on the table. Anytime you roll a coil, you wet the table. That's a hack and it's a rule because it doesn't make the clay crack then or get little stretch marks in it. And you make a little ball, then roll it into a coil. And could you make one for you and your neighbor if you get too much? Yeah. Okay, so this could probably be used for 2 people. And you take your needle tool and just slice and make a little coil. And then while it's plastic, it's cheating a little bit. You don't have to slip and score. You can just lay that on top of the clay and then smear that in. And then when you go to hang it on the wall, it helps hang it, okay? You can put your nail or tack or whatever it is that you hang it from. And then just make sure, again, to smooth the back and carve your name into the back very legibly. And again, it's kind of really not carving, you're more like impressing with the needle tool and like gliding it along. And you might have to repeat over your lines several times. And just put your name in the back. And don't forget, because these hearts are all gonna start looking just alike. Even, you might be like, no, I could tell, I know my heart, but you know your heart. Anyway, you might say it, but then once it gets fired, it's gonna shrink. Clay shrinks from 10 to 25%, depending on what clay body you're using. And then your heart might start looking like everybody else's. My 2 looks more like a Z, but that's okay. I'm not gonna judge myself. I'll give myself some grace. But make sure you have your name on there. and the period, so I know where to put it on the shelf and it goes so you can get it back. And that's it. So this is, again, our hanging heart project. Look at the heart there. Hanging heart project. And if you want to go in and put design on it, like I had other students do, this student added a little design on the top, an applique. An applique is just a fancy French word that means, what do you think? What's the root word, applique? To apply, yeah. Another student said apple yesterday too, that's funny. But to apply. And then you can also carve into your heart and make designs as well, okay? But you can add appliques, you can start to carve into it. They're not done, they want to work on it more. And the tool that you use to carve, the best tool that I think is either the scoopy tool, okay? So this is the knife on one end and a scooper on the other. And that gets all the clay boogers out and gets nice and deep. Or the small wire loops tool. We'll talk about that. Okay? All right. So if there's no questions, thank you very much for watching. You've been so cooperative, and I appreciate that. Ceramics 1 and 2. And at home, don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notification button. Thank you. Bye-bye.